G'day guys, welcome to my RxWise feature video. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about NRL Round 4 recap preview for 2020 guys, so let's get started. So to kick this all off, we have the Broncos going up against the Roosters. Now this game was absolutely really cool. But the Broncos didn't really do good. It was just disappointing to see them playing obviously terrible. It's their home ground and they just really gave the ball to like the Roosters because they just played absolutely just terrible. Like the only thing I can say is just terrible for them. They are a pretty cool football team, but at the moment for them, they just played bloody shocking. And what I can say about this game, it was absolutely very tied up with the Broncos because they had a lot of young players coming into that squad, and what I can say about this game was it's just absolutely shocking for the Broncos, and plus this game was just absolutely very much a different way of the way the Broncos obviously played up against the Roosters. But the Roosters though, they played absolutely very well balanced football and they just played it with their heart and soul, and they are a really good football team. It was a 59 points to nil score line with Luke Keary obviously kicking that field goal to make it 59-0. It was 58-0 until he obviously kicked the field goal. But Joseph Manu played obviously really well. Who else? Daniel Tupo played really well. I'm not sure if James Tedesco was there. I don't think so. But a lot of things didn't really go as planned for the Roosters, but they played really well, and I just think that that game was absolute well done match performance, and credit to the Roosters for making that game absolutely for their game, and they just took their win by their team anyway, and they just wanted to win. But I took the Roosters though by 10 points, and they obviously won that game by a very much big margin, and I just say well done to the Roosters for making this win up against the Broncos anyway. The next game of this round, we see the Panthers going up against the Warriors. Now this game was absolutely really boring game to watch, and I didn't really think that a lot of these teams were just like, for the Panthers though, they were alright, but it just wasn't really consistent enough. And I didn't really find the Panthers going into their position right. But for the Warriors though, they absolutely played well, but they just lacked consistency. But with the Warriors, they were pretty good since they won up against the Dragons. But losing up against Panthers, I knew for a fact that the Panthers were going to win this game. Doubt to my mind that 26-0 was going to happen, and I took the Panthers by 12 points. This game was absolutely really going to a stride, and I reckon that this game was just took it to a new level. And what I can say about it was absolutely a alright game to watch, but Episode Carousel played really well. I think like also other players played well too, but this game was just a very cool game, and I really like the Panthers because they are an alright team, but sometimes they can play sloppy, but then they come back and win a game of football, which they can take it to a new level, but sometimes they just go off and then they just play terrible, which a lot of Panthers fans won't like to see. But really, for instance though, what I do like about the Warriors, they are an alright team, but sometimes they can win, but they can lose. Sometimes they can have an alright game, but then when they turn up, they play terrible. And that's what they did up against the Panthers, because it was a 26-0 scoreline, and none of these tries happened with the Warriors because they didn't score at all. But obviously, the tries scored were obviously, I think it was 4 tries, I think, for the Panthers. and a couple of the penalty goals, I'd say. But this game was obviously a very good game to watch, and yeah, I really liked this game, but it was just boring at the start, and then I think it was alright, but yeah, it was alright for the Panthers anyway, but good luck for the Warriors for getting, trying their hardest, but yeah, it's just unlucky for them anyway. The next game of this round, we see the Storm going up against the Rabbitohs. Now, this game was absolutely very high-intensive football. These two sides are very good sides. Rabbitohs are a very good side, but I knew for a fact that this game was just absolutely going to the heads, that Rabbitohs were not going to win that game, but Storm were going to win that game because it was their home ground advantage to obviously win that game against the Rabbitohs. It was 22.8 scoreline, and what I can say about it was absolutely very a great match of high intensive football it was. And what I can say about it was the Rabbitohs, they just need to find their form, and I reckon that this game was just absolutely terrible to see the Rabbitohs obviously losing that game. But then when you get the Melbourne Storm though, what I can say about this game, they are a very high intensive team, which they have obviously lost a couple of games, but then they come back and obviously win a couple of games. But then you obviously got Brenko Lee, which he's alright, but he's not really that good. Then you got Josh Adokar, he's alright, but when he's fast and when he gets the ball, he's obviously quick, and he obviously damages a lot of players into the opposite position. But also too, what I can say about it for the Rabbitohs, they played alright, but it was just not as easy as it was for this game. But I took the Melbourne Storm by 6 points, and they obviously win 22.8 the scoreline. And I just think that this game was just alright game, but high intensifying football, that it was just very decision making, decision making as in if the Storm were going to win or if the Rabbitohs were going to win. But the Melbourne Storm were going to win, and I took it with my brain, and I took it with the smart thinking that I was going to tip the Melbourne Storm, and they obviously won by so many points. But for instance though, well done to the Melbourne Storm for making that win up against the Rabbitohs anyway. 22.8 the scoreline was, and I took the Melbourne Storm by 6 points anyway. The next game of this round, we see the Eels going up against the Manly Sea Eagles. Now this game, we need to focus on this game, because when the last moment of Ruben Garrett getting the ball, scoring the try, they ruled it forward. And apparently, a lot of people say it wasn't forward, but then it was forward. A lot of half people saying, a lot of 60% people saying oh, it wasn't forward, but then a lot of other people saying it was forward. It kind of confuses me a bit. But then, when I can say about this game, it was alright. Intensive game of football. But then when you got Tom Trbojevic, he's obviously a very good player. And then when Mitchell Moses played, he played really cool, really good, and he obviously kicked that field goal to make it 19 points to 16, and I did tip the Eels by 14 points, and they obviously won by a couple of points, I think by 4 points, I believe. But Manly are an alright team. They've got a lot of Queensland players into that squad, like Daly Cherry Evans and other type of players. But for this game though, Reid Marnie was alright. Blake Ferguson was alright too. Ryan Madison was obviously playing really well. Dylan Brown played really well also too. Well done to him. Credit to him. Mitchell Moses played good. I definitely said that, obviously. But this game was obviously an alright game, but a lot of people are just going to say that Manly supporters are going to say, oh, this game was robbed. It wasn't robbed, but you have to blame it on the refs. because the refs ruled it forward, and also the touch judges. You can't just blame it on the Eels, because the Eels didn't make it to a forward pass. The ref did, because the ref ruled it forward, plus the touch judges. So you have to blame it on them, not the Eels, because they didn't do it. The refs did it. Like, the refs said, oh, like, since that pass ruled forward, it was forward, apparently, by the refs. But I could say that it curved, because when you tackle backwards, it could have said, oh, it was forward. But then it wasn't, because otherwise it would have curved a bit. But I just don't think it was forward by any chance. And when Ruben Garrick was going to score, and if that player was going to obviously say, no, if that ref was going to say, oh, it wasn't forward, the game would have ruled it, and then Manly obviously would have won that game. But since that, well done to the Parramatta Eels for obviously winning this game. 19 points to 16, and I obviously tipped the Parramatta Eels by 14 points, and I obviously won that game by so many points, but obviously by 4 points, but not so many, because it was not a thrashing. It was just a couple of points that they took home with the win anyway. The next game of this round, we see the Cowboys going up against the Sharks. Now, this game was just absolutely pretty nice to see the Sharks playing a good win, but since they lost up against the West Tigers in that game, like last week, I think, or the week before, I'd say. But when they versed the Cowboys, they just came out firing without Chad Townsend. They just came out firing and just took home with the win. But Shaun Johnson needs to play a bit more football right, because every time I see him, it's just not right to see Shaun Johnson just run with the ball, but he doesn't really do anything. But then when you got Matt Moylan is a really good attacker, and obviously when he runs with the ball, he's obviously fast and he's obviously skillful. But when you got Ronaldo Militalo, he didn't play, obviously. He was obviously ruled out. I think, yeah, by any chance, I'm not too sure. I think, yeah, I'm not too sure if that player was obviously ruled out of that match. But this game was just absolutely really a high intensifying match. The Sharks just took it home with the win, with the away win, obviously. And there was a 26 points to 16 win against the Cowboys, and Cowboys didn't really do much, but they scored, I think, 3 tries, but obviously missed the goal. And I just took the Sharks by 20 points, and they obviously won this game by so many points, I think by 16 points. And this game was just absolutely really nice to see the Sharks winning up against the Cowboys anyway. But when Valentine Holmes played with that match, he didn't do well. He's obviously just mucked around and didn't really do much play of football anyway. But since he did that, it was 26 points to 16 scoreline, and I went for the Sharks by 20 points anyway. The next game of this round, we see the Raiders going up against the Knights. Now, this game was just high intensifying match. The Knights just fired up and just obviously took this game to a new level. Well done to the Newcastle Knights. I've never seen Newcastle Knights played with their bloody heart out. Absolutely well done performance by the Newcastle Knights. Raiders, though, they were alright, but they just played absolutely like not great football, as I was going to expect with them. But Chante Nickel-Klokstad did nothing. He absolutely did nothing. And I hate to say this, but you're just terrible. That game was obviously terrible by you, and you just did nothing. The only one player that stand out in that game was Bradman Best. Bradman Best, you're an absolutely machine. Former Woodward Jr. and absolutely machine. Well done to you. Absolutely just hammered the Raiders, and I just think that this game, though, was just absolutely high intensifying match by you. And I just think credit to you because you just absolutely just took this game to an absolutely good win. And without you, I would say the Newcastle Knights were just gonna say that the Newcastle Knights were gonna be playing poor. But Tex Hoy didn't really play as much in that game. When Kalen Ponga obviously played really well, he scored a try, but well done to him though too. It was obviously 34 points to 18 win, and I obviously took the Raiders by 12, which was disappointing, and I only got 2 wrong, which the rest were right anyway. But I obviously got 6 out of 8 for my tips. But what I can say about this match, it was obviously really cool to see Newcastle Knights just taking home with the win against the Raiders, which Raiders just weren't playing as much effort as they were. But yeah, well done to the Newcastle Knights for making this game a really good game up against the Raiders anyway. The next game of this match, we see the Titans going up against the West Tigers. Now this game was alright. West Tigers were playing really good until Benji Marshall kicked that field goal, but it was 28 points to 23 win for the Titans, and finally they obviously won a game, which they lost a streak of losses, but then they obviously won the game. 28 points to 23 scoreline, and I obviously took the West Tigers by 18 points, and I obviously lost that tipping bet anyway. And what I can say about it is Titans were just terrible though at the start, but then they can fire up and obviously win a game of football. But finally, what I can say about this match, I like this match because it was obviously interesting, but then the Titans were just going to say, no, let's obviously win a game of football. That finally, they obviously won a game of football, and well done to the Titans anyway. But they're still terrible, which they're sitting on 15th in the ladder, which leading the Dragons on 16th, the Wooden Spooners now. But I hate to think that Titans are going to obviously lose another losing streak. But if they can make a game, they obviously need to step up a bit. Just because you won a game match, it doesn't mean that you're just a really good football team. You guys need to obviously stand up and obviously win a game of football, which I know for a fact you obviously did up against West Tigers, but still you need obviously keep this flow going, because if you're just going to say, oh, I'm obviously going to win a match and then obviously lose a match, then you're going to say, oh, Titans can be alright, but then yeah, you can obviously lose. But I obviously took the West Tigers though by 18 points, which was a really bad loss for me. And well done to the Titans for making this win up against the West Tigers anyway. And finally, the next game of this round, we see the Bulldogs going up against the Dragons. Now this game was alright game, but what I can say about it was they just played terrible, and the Dragons were just, they played absolutely shocking. And they did not even bloody get a try. They didn't even bloody try to get anything. They didn't even try to make a line break. The only line break they had was going down the field, and then obviously Del Martinez-Lesniak coming down the right hand side and obviously tackled John Ferreira into touch. That was the only line break that I just saw by the Dragons. But till then, they played absolutely terrible. And Ben Hunt needs to get dropped or something like that, because he is just terrible. But I know he's alright, but he needs to find his form. The Dragons played terrible, and I just felt so sorry for this team. Since they are on the 16th ladder, Wooden Spooners, the Bulldogs came out firing, and I hate to say that this game was alright. I obviously took the Bulldogs by 10 points, and they obviously won this match by 22 points to 2 scoreline anyway. And I hate to say that if the Dragons are going to keep losing, they're just going to be like the Titans. And I hate to say that this game was alright by the Bulldogs, but not alright for the Dragons, because they obviously just played like terrible. And I'm just gonna say that you guys need to win a game. You can't just lose a game, because Paul McGregor is just gonna have pressure going to his mind saying, oh, I'm probably gonna be sacked, or I'm probably gonna be like going under pressure by the NRL committee or something like that. But yeah, the Dragons need to find their form, and I hate to say that if this team is just gonna win a match and then lose a match, they're just gonna be terrible for this season, and I just think they're just gonna lose every match they play up against. But luckily for the Bulldogs though, they played alright, and I hate to say that this game was pretty much an alright match, but for the Dragons, they just played shit, and they just need to arc up for this match anyway. But well done to the Bulldogs for making this game a really good game, and for making this win anyway, 22 points to 2, and I took the Bulldogs though by 10 points anyway. Thanks guys for watching my video, guys. Stay tuned for more. I will be doing a couple of videos coming to you guys soon. Also, I'll be doing more videos coming to you guys soon, so stay tuned for more. Plus, leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and for this video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Till then, take care guys, stay safe, and have a good one. Plus, let's get up to 150 subscribers. We're sitting on 149 subscribers. Thanks to everyone that obviously loves my videos and obviously watches my videos. You guys have been amazing. Since I got up to 50, we got up to 100, and now 150 subscribers. We need to sit on that or past that anyway. If we get up to 153, I'll still do a video and give a big shout out to you guys. But anyway, thanks guys for watching this video. Stay tuned for more. Sorry about the rain. The rain has been going on for a while. I do apologize about that, and yeah, still going on for a while. So yeah. Anyway, guys, take care and have a good one.